Hello and welcome to another edition of Straight from the Training Ground, the podcast where we share our love for the beautiful game and the people out in their communities doing beautiful things. And we're very pleased to have 703 Warriors with us today. What is that, you might ask? Well, we'll explain here in a minute. But we have their founder, Anees Merzi. Did I say that correct?
Yes, thank you so much.
They are based out of Northern Virginia, and they are doing some great things. So, Anees, thanks so much for taking a few minutes to talk about soccer and all the great things you guys are doing.
No, it's a pleasure. Thanks so much for having me. I'd love to share more.
Well, let's get right to it then. Tell everybody first off, what is 703 Warriors?
Yeah, it's a concept we came with. If you notice, the 703 is the area code. And we really
Okay.
truly believe that this is something that can go beyond, think of like a local chapter model or a franchise from the business world.
Right.
It can go beyond just our footprint. But what we're trying to do here is prove that this model can work. And when I say the word model, it's being able to provide accessible, free programs. And we have 4 programs part of our model where we build a solid foundation with the kids, starting at youth development, thinking about mentorship, financial literacy, online safety paired with soccer skills, and then continuing up the ladder all the way up to competitive soccer is kind of our top tier. And that's where we truly are giving these kids a chance to be seen at these tournaments, right? And to prove that if we give them just a little bit of structure, it's not going to be the same that they see at other clubs, just a little bit of a chance. They too, at age 11, 12, can have a warm handoff. If soccer is truly in their future, they could go to where they need to go. Worst case, they have these skills, this foundation to win at life is kind of our mission statement.
Wow, yeah, that's tremendous. And looking right there, just stats on your website, 534 kids that you've mentored already, 2,000 volunteer hours, just some great things that you're doing. You're the founder. I don't know if anyone else helped you along the way, but can you kind of explain what was your motivation or how did you start this?
No, of course. So it's 2 parts. One part, I faced a lot of these barriers growing up. I played soccer growing up, but again, I felt like if I just had a little bit of more of an opportunity, it could have been different. I got lucky when I got to high school. I had a growth spurt. Football coach came up, was like, "Hey, son, what are you here for?" I'm for the soccer physical. No, no, no. You come this way. The football's over here. And then I
Yeah.
ended up playing football at West Point in college. So again, I got very lucky, very chance opportunity. So something when I look back in my life at that point was like, man, there's so many kids that I know if they were just given this chance opportunity, they would go far. Maybe they could have gotten to college. I'm not even talking about
Yeah.
professional, just like maybe you can get something out of this to break the cycle of your family and to move on and maybe continue to further yourself and your family's, establishment. So that was one part of it. The second part, as I was getting older and leaving the military, I was lacking this sense of teamwork, ripple effect, right? Being able to work with folks closely and then them go out and do great things in the community or at work, whatever. So bringing those 2 things together, I was like, you know what? I'm going to do something about this beyond just informally, volunteering, doing it with small groups. It's like, we could probably do something very special. I'm going to try it for a year. If it doesn't work, there's a reason why no one else is really doing it. And I'll just shutter it. It's not a big deal, right? That's kind of how I came into this.
That's amazing. I love that term too. I've been around, I've coached club in high school and helped with all kinds of camps and different things for 20 some years. But I love that
Wow.
term ripple effect because that's great. You're not just doing something great. It's kind of like you're trying to pay it forward, right? You're trying to teach others how to keep it going.
Yeah, exactly. And I see
That,
myself in these kids, and it's one of those things I'm like, sometimes I'm very hard on them too, right? It's just because I see myself in them and I'm like, man, you're so close. You have so much potential. Just follow instructions. A lot of times
yeah.
it's like, look, I need you to lock in. A lot of the kids we work with, for better or worse, right? They lack some of these things, father figure, just guidance, right? Like,
Yeah.
hey, this is what right looks like. This is what wrong looks like. And some of those things we're also finding, that's how we created those other programs like youth development and community fitness, is really just trying to bring the kids together to show them this is how you operate when you're doing training, or this is how you operate if you're at a park from the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. They come out and teach the kids, hey, these are warning signs, right? You see an adult that you don't recognize coming up to you. These are some tactics, if your parents aren't around, to leverage. And so these are just skills that we're teaching them beyond soccer that would just make them successful wherever they go.
It's amazing. A lot more than soccer. That's what it's all about. Yeah. So I'm going to pull up the website again. Why don't you go a little bit more in depth and just explain the specific programs that you offer, if you don't mind?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, this is probably the easiest one. I don't know if you're sharing that screen when it came up. But those are the 4 programs that you see on the screen, and
Yeah.
then when you pull up that little pyramid diagram, I think this is the easiest way. What we're trying to do is document a lot of the stuff we're doing, like a blueprint, because truly to get to our vision, we gotta remove single points of failure. We have to document and prove out kind of, here's the blueprint for success, and we're doing that right now with our pilot team on the competitive soccer program. um,
Hmm.
Bringing those key pieces together. So if someone else comes up from 305 or Columbus, Ohio, like you guys, another neighborhood, we can deploy this model where they can run it decentrally,
Okay.
decentralized California and Florida, 305, whatever, and they reach back support to us in Arlington where they can get registration for the kids, uniforms, maybe if they need partnerships. We partner with Travis Manion Foundation, Girls on the Run, right? All these key partnerships that help us bring that expert programming to the table. That's stuff that we can handle administratively back at the headquarters.
Okay. Wow, that's tremendous. And so, you know, I think one of the stats I saw on your website is that you guys have already figured out, like myself and many others, um, with the club soccer model and pay to play kind of in the United States right now, that 40% of kids, I think, or so, are already eliminated because of the financial barriers. So I love what you guys are doing. Can you explain to everybody, or how can someone in their community get something like this started? Because I think a lot of people have trouble. They want to start a club or create something for kids, but how do you generate, or how do you cover the costs and make those things possible for kids, so they're not eliminated because of that pay to play model?
Yeah, yeah. Part of it all starts with the term flexibility. And it's not just flexibility that we offer, it also comes from the parent side and really trusting the process. Something we've been doing this for about 14 months now, like
Okay.
operationally. And something that I've had struggles with when you talk about challenges earlier is getting the parents to see, hey, this is an unorthodox approach, but just
Huh.
trust us. We have a model, we have a way of thinking, give us a little bit of trust and you'll see what happens. And you see the kids that have stuck around, especially on our competitive team, as I think we just topped, we're like 41 in Virginia now, which is crazy. These people, I have good hearing comments on the field of like, hey, does that kid even speak English?
Yeah.
What are those kids doing here from the park? Right? Like bringing the kids from the park and being able to compete, Northern Virginia, Maryland, this area is very rich in talent. Being able to compete on the same field with those kids, I think, is already speaking volumes to the process that we're giving and the access that we're giving to the kids. But kind of coming back to flexibility, right? So the parents understanding, hey, look, this isn't going to look traditional. We're going to have to piggyback on different fields. We may not be on a nice turf field. We might not have
Yeah.
lights, right? But there's going to be struggles. We're going to rough it out. I mean, I have them sometimes practicing in a parking garage.
Yeah.
I bring a leaf blower, I blow the debris, and then we're practicing in a parking garage, right? Like, because there's a thunderstorm outside and, we want to practice, right? So, I mean, I think that unorthodox approach of being resourceful has helped us gone tremendously far in such a short amount of time. But then when you come back to, well, from an outsider looking in, I want to do something similar to what you're doing. How do we do that? Because maybe I'm not as resourceful. Maybe I don't know where to get the funds from. I only know soccer. I know how to coach soccer. I know how to get the kids on a field, get them ready for a game, but I can't handle all this other stuff that you've kind of solved. So
Yeah.
part of that is me sharing lessons learned in the hopes of, hey, that there is a way to do, there's a pathway to solve this. The other part is, we've built up really good relationships now. So on the money side, we have a lot of good family foundation connections that are supporting. We're now just breaking into corporate sponsorships, which is going to be huge, right? And then, as I mentioned before, the resourcefulness of not being afraid to go practice on a grass field that no
Yeah.
one else is using because there's a pothole out there. It's like, come on. Or investing in lights. We've invested in lights from the nonprofit side of, hey, there's a lot of fields out there that are actually perfect, but because there's no lights, you practice late enough because kids can't practice until 6:30 anyways. We have a great field because now we just stand up those lights that we recharge the batteries.
Yeah, that's a great point, and it all comes down to, like you said, I think flexibility and being resourceful. But what I love, that everything that you've said so far, is it is possible. It is possible. Like anything else, some hard work, being resourceful, being flexible. With that being said, you're still kind of in an infancy, I'd say, within the
Yes.
last year. How would you say so far the response has been from the parents that when you suggest that they're going to need to be flexible?
So far, we've lost roughly 7 or 8 kids, which I'm not happy about. But again, it was from the parents' perspective, I just didn't do a good job of managing expectations of, hey, you're not going to get the turf fields with the lights and these professional coaches coming out and training the kids. We're just trying to give you an opportunity. And we cut off at age 11 or 12 because we want to do a warm handoff. At that point, if soccer is truly in your kid's future, they're going to be seen at these tournaments, right? We're not playing in the bottom brackets or playing
Yeah.
in rec, right? Like we're playing against top teams. So I think that's something that I learned later on is really talking to a lot of the newer parents that are coming and saying, look, this isn't a traditional experience. So if you are familiar with other things in the area, just put all that aside and just trust me along this journey. I'm here to answer any questions. I'm very responsive. We put everything in English and Spanish. We have folks on the staff that speak Arabic, because we do have folks that also, that come from those backgrounds. A new one that we're seeing is Farsi. So again, it's just bringing in all this community support together and saying, look, we're only able to make this possible if we all trust each other and we're ready to go on this journey together. Otherwise, don't come expecting the traditional thing that you get somewhere else, because those folks can do that when they charge you $3,000 to just register your son or daughter.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, we're here with Anees from 703 Warriors in the Northern Virginia area doing some great things. Make sure you check them out for kids in their community and in soccer. So really appreciate everything that you're doing. What would you say so far at this point you're the most proud of with 703 Warriors?
Yeah, I mean, the true reason I started was the competitive soccer side, right? Like these other programs, I've come to really love the youth development program because of all the skills that these kids are picking up in such a short amount of time. That's become my new favorite program. But really, when you think about things that you can truly measure beyond the numbers is great, and I think we can do a lot more. I think where I really point to a success is the pilot team, the team that we said, let's get these kids together. These kids, they have a lot of potential, but they just don't have the training or the opportunity, or they don't even know about soccer, right? I'm
Yeah.
just recruiting kids and like at the park, like, hey, is that your son? How old is your son? Oh,
Yeah.
okay, do you want to try this new program out, right? Like that's how we started. So yeah, I think when I go back to your question on success, it's measured solely off of the pilot team, which which seems kind of crazy. But again, when we're in this type of area and we've been able to do so much in such a little time, like we took our first medal. When you think of milestones, we won first place at the Arlington Spring Soccer Tournament. We weren't in the top bracket for that one, but still, just placing.
Yeah.
That's the first time we've ever placed. Our closest before that was semifinals. Getting that's another milestone. Being ranked even just in the top 50, I think is huge. You can imagine how many clubs and teams are in Virginia. I venture to say maybe 700. I don't know the exact number, right? Being into that far ranked, and then with the opportunity this weekend with the Prince William Courage Icebreaker tournament here in the area, that's another opportunity that we could potentially be breaking 30, right? If we do well. So these are things that I measure when you talk about things I'm proud of, is pointing to this team and how they've come together and really have become like a team out there.
And very cool. And I'm assuming, is that the very first team you put together? Is that what you mean?
Yes, so I'm very involved. We do have a bunch of volunteers now, 57
Wow.
unique volunteers, and most of them help with the youth development program and the community fitness program. The street soccer one, we don't need as many volunteers. That's just once a week. And then the competitive soccer, we're starting to get more and more coaches coming out and saying, I'd like to volunteer my time once a week to give back. So that I think is going to be the crucial turning point for us, is to be able to build out more teams and keep it in a way that's scalable. So it's not Anees at every single event, right? Running around with my head cut off. But I love doing this. I wouldn't be doing it. I would have started a for-profit, right? And I wouldn't be saying like two things that are non-negotiable for me. I will refuse to ever take a paycheck for my time for this thing because I truly believe in it. And the second thing is I refuse to charge parents for their kids to be part of our programs. So recognizing those two things, there's a lot of things that you mentioned about where's the money come from? Like these are the strategic relationships and partnerships we're building. Like Target is a recent one where they've they've promised to provide all the snacks and drinks. Again, this is small. When you think about the dollar amounts, not
Yeah.
a large dollar amount, but I mean, it goes a long way when everyone is solely focused on what are we doing best for the community.
Yeah, absolutely, and, that's amazing to have partners like that. Uh, Tremendous things that you're doing there in the community there in Northern Virginia. Uh, what would you have, let's say in a perfect world, and I know you're probably, stressed out and you have a lot of things going on. This has only been in existence a little over a year. But in a perfect world, maybe a few years down the road, what would you love to see from 703 Warriors?
Yeah, so for this year in 2025, the goal is to find a way to scale with or without me. Remove me from the equation if possible. That's the goal because I want to prove that this thing could really grow in other areas. And obviously, if it needs me, it's not going to be able to do that. I can't be flying back and forth to different area codes, right?
Yeah.
So that's one thing for 2025. And then when you talk about more tactically, the thing I really want to accomplish also over 2025 is to have, because we serve from ages 7 to 12, I want to
Yeah.
have at least a team in each of those age groups that are competing at these tournaments. That would be the goal for 703.
Oh, that's very, very good, man. That's great. What, So you mentioned you want to expand a little bit, or not necessarily expand personally, but you want to provide these services in other communities. How would someone get in touch if anybody's watching this or finds you guys on social media? How could they get in touch with you to start something like this? With your curriculum, kind of your guidelines in their community.
Yeah, of course. We've done really good at documenting now, even all the way to the workouts. So the community fitness workouts are documented, the strength workouts, the agility drills, the soccer drills. We've started to document these things because, again, I want to be able to share this with others and they can take it, and at least they don't have to follow exactly what we're saying, but at least they have guidelines or there's something to reference, like, oh, I don't know what to do. At least I have a library of knowledge that I can pull from. So that's one thing we're trying to do. When you go back to how to reach out, you can search me on LinkedIn, Anees Merzi, any social media thing, I'm probably on there. On all our websites, social media platforms, we have volunteers running the social media platforms. But again, even if you send a message, everything will come back to me, right? I'm the single point of failure for a lot of things, which is not the greatest thing to say out loud, but because I recognize for something like this to truly have legs and grow, it takes someone to be able to say, you know what, I'm going to put in the blood, sweat, and tears and lay the foundation. And then once the foundation's laid, a strong foundation, we can now grow and think about these things where we can capacity build, find other folks that can really pitch in and kind of take over some of the things I've been working.
Yeah, hey, it worked for me. I mean, I found you on Instagram, and here we are. So it worked.
Yeah, we have a Marine. This is crazy. We have a Marine running our Instagram, and he's awesome. So, like, we get a lot of folks in the area that are just like, "Hey, I want to give back. I want to volunteer." And so Jose's been running, like our Instagram for us, and he sends me a message whenever something comes in. He's like, "Hey, you check this out," and then I'll jump on Instagram and basically take over
Yeah.
type thing. But like, yeah, he's been great, and that's how we've been able to do a lot of this. As you'd be surprised, a lot of young professionals are just like, you know what? I don't mind because we're very informal. It's like, if you can
Yeah.
come out, here's a schedule. If you have any questions, text me. Here's the WhatsApp group. We communicate with all the families over WhatsApp.
Hmm.
I come from a product background. And just in a nutshell, if you don't know product management, just think of someone that's trying to deliver a pleasant experience for the customer or for the user, right? Based
Yeah.
off their problems they face with the workflows they're trying to solve, whatever. So that's what I bring to the table, is always consistently talking with parents and trying to understand, how can we make this better? Is it a location issue? Is it a communication issue? And the reason we landed with WhatsApp is everyone unanimously said WhatsApp works for me.
Yeah. And I think the key that you just said is communication. And in any club, high school, rec setting, whatever you're trying to do, I think with parents especially is communication. It seems like, the world we live in now, we have all these apps and social media and less communication though. You know what I mean? And so I think you can alleviate a lot of those problems and expectations, like you just said, um, with communication. So again, I'll get you out of here on one last question, but before we do that, I do want to announce to everybody that we're very happy to have 703 Warriors be a new partner for the soccer neighborhood. If you don't know what the soccer neighborhood is, check us out. We'll have our links down below. We'll also have our links down below for everything from 703 Warriors, so you can contact Anees get in touch with them, follow them on social media. But thesoccerneighborhood.com is an online website that we provide links and information about everyone in our country, like you guys, who are providing free or a very little financial obligation for kids and soccer opportunities in their community. So really appreciate that. We're very glad to welcome you guys aboard. Last question, I'll let you get out of here, Anees. What advice do you have to someone, so in their community, they watch this, maybe they hear about you guys on social media, and whether or not they want to partner with you and, adopt your curriculum, or whether they just want to start something like this on their own, what's one or two pieces of advice, now that you've got a year under your belt, that you would give to them?
Yeah, the biggest thing is, I think what we don't do well enough job about is reaching out and trying to connect with folks before just starting something on your own. I tried to do it with a few in the area, but they were all not exactly what I was looking to do. They're like, "Oh, we charge $500," and those two non-negotiable things we talked up front. I was like, I can't do that. It's not
Yeah.
in my body to do that. So in my case, I just couldn't find someone that was exactly doing this holistic approach of, I'm not trying to create robots. We have street soccer to let them learn on their own. You look around the world, how are people learning soccer? They don't have a coach out there saying, "Hey, back up, pass left, cross it, shoot." It's like, okay, well, now you're creating a kid that all they do is they're listening for your cue, and they don't really know, why did I back up? Why did I cross it?
You
Like, I'm
came to
not
the
seeing
right
the
place,
game.
my man.
So street soccer is another big one that we bring to the table in programs. But yeah, I mean, I think truly it's just working together. It's finding ways to partner, like this great partnership we're about to establish, and work together. It's the community approach. That's the only way this is going to work. It's not going to work by everyone saying, "I'm just going to do my own thing. I'm going to do my own thing." It's like, okay, well, you could probably go further together as opposed to, right, just doing your own thing. And that's something I wish I would have tried to do more earlier on myself, is try to find more folks to do it together with. I just couldn't find it at the time. So now I'm hoping, as people like yourself are given this platform to elevate and say, "Hey, there are other folks out there that are doing this. Reach out to this guy." I would welcome everyone to reach out, because I truly believe in what we're doing. And I think as you bring in other minds to the table, there could be something that I'm completely missing, right? And now we're collaborating. We're doing something where we're working together and figuring out, hey, this is how it makes most sense to move this forward, as opposed to just what Anees thinks, kind of thing.
Great stuff from Anees, 703 Warriors. We really appreciate your time, and even more so, really appreciate everything you're doing to help kids out in your community by providing soccer opportunities for them for free. It is possible, guys. It's a great thing you're doing. So please keep up the great work. We'll stay in touch, and we're very happy to welcome you guys aboard to the soccer neighborhood. So until next time, from straight from the training ground, peace out.